Alright guys, welcome to another video. It's Raz here. Before we go ahead guys, the usual drill: if you're a subscriber, hit your notification bell. If you're new to the channel guys, please consider subscribing, and as usual, post your comments and don't forget to share the video. Let's crack into this guys. The importance of good habits, okay? Why you need to have good habits. What are habits guys? What are habits? Habits are formed, they're parts of your pattern, they're in the subconscious mind, okay? They're patterns of learned behaviours that allow you to function in daily life, okay? And they allow you to deal with things that eliminates having to work out and deal with certain problems to allow you to get through your daily activities, okay? So what do I mean by this, okay? So things that you take for granted, i.e., sorry, I've just had a text here, guys. So switching the light bulb on, okay, right? These are kind of things you're granted. That is a habit that your body has stored and learned over a period of time, okay? That habit you've learned. And why the body develops habits is, guys, to allow you to function more efficiently in life. Habits are basically your mind's ability to create and solve a problem, okay? So it works out a problem, and through repetition and doing the thing again and again, it works out the problem. So and then it deals with the problem automatically in your subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind starts to take over that and turns it into a habit. So when you get in, you switch on the room's dark. Your body learns this through your youth, through your repetition. When you grow up, you learn this as an automatic. It becomes an automatic habit through your parents, through watching them. So you know to switch a light off, light on when it's light bulb on when it's dark. Okay, your body's learned that. The reason the body does that is so it can free up your conscious mind to deal with more important things. So it frees that. It doesn't need to work that out. Similar things like driving your car, okay? Driving your car, or simple things like brushing your teeth, going to a toilet. These are habits, or whatever your daily routines are in the morning. The first thing what you do, you get up, you have a coffee. These are all learned actions, right, through repetition, that become automatic, and they're taken over by the subconscious mind, okay? The unconscious mind, the non-conscious mind, i.e., so your brain can function on more important things and daily things. And this is what habits are. Okay, and the reason habits are very important, guys, is that the habits form your beliefs in society, your beliefs about ideology, your beliefs about politics, your beliefs about life in general. Okay, so the beliefs you hold about yourself, the beliefs you hold about other people, the beliefs you hold about life, the beliefs you hold about what you're capable of doing, what you're capable of achieving, okay? So they form your beliefs. The more you repeat an action, okay, the more you repeat an action of a certain activity, and you repeat it on a continuous basis, it's a vote. You're casting a vote for that to be created as a habit. So it turns into habit, and these habits then are automated. Your body learns, and it automates it, and that's you running, automatically. And this is how the body survives, and it allows you to function and make your life easier. That's what habits are for, right? So these are learned habits, and by the time we get to adulthood, we've learned most of the functional habits that we need to survive in society. But this is the important thing: we learn through social interaction, through watching our parents, through learned ideologies. We learn habits, and those habits make up our beliefs, which can be detrimental to us, which can be very negative habits, okay? Very negative habits that don't serve you, okay? that don't serve you. And I'm going to try and stop saying okay a lot, guys, because I've picked this up in a lot of my other videos, so please bear with me. These habits can be negative and they do not serve you. You start to pick up a lot of habits in the non-conscious mind that are automatic, that don't serve you. Now, what do I mean? How can they be detrimental to you? Let's look, for instance, your life in general. How well you're doing in life, okay? What your goals, aspirations are, what you do on a daily basis, okay? You've got to look at as those habits. Where will they lead you? Are they leading you? Are they constructive? Are they leading you to a productive direction? Okay, where will those habits lead you? Where will those habits lead you in 5 or 10 years from now? Do you have good habits that's going to lead you to a good place in 5 or 6 years? Are your habits benefiting you, to in 10 years time to make you successful, in 10 years time to make you more wealthy? Do your habits keep you healthy? Will you be healthy later on with the current habits you've got? What is your health habits like? What is your sleeping habits like? And this is why it's very, very important, because we form a lot of bad habits. Procrastination is a habit that we learn. Watching too much television is a habit. Netflix binging is a habit. When you can create habits that are more productive, you start to get these kind of negative habits. When you get in from work, you sit down, it's automatic, the brain learns it. Then you start switching on the telly, because the function of a habit, guys, is to give you some sort of release, some sort of a reward. Okay, habits are formed through a four-stage process. Okay, so they're formed through a four-stage process. Your brain picks the need up for this habit, a cue, something triggers a cue of that. A cue, craving. Okay, cue, craving, response, right? What action you take and the reward of what you get from that. Okay, so you can look at stuff like smoking a cigarette as a negative habit, and the cue for that smoking a cigarette, you might have saw somebody smoking a cigarette, or somebody's got you involved in smoking a cigarette, or you go to a pub and you don't drink, but you don't really smoke outside pub hours, but when you go to a pub, you're a social smoker. So that's a cue. That's called a cue. Thus it causes a craving, because you see everybody else drinking, smoking. You get the craving for it, and you have the need to satisfy that craving, and then you get the reward off that. But some habits that create rewards, the rewards can be detrimental, but they give you a temporary release to the craving. So you're getting a slight reward off it, but in the long term, it's going to do you damage. So that's an example of how the habit's going to be detrimental to you, and how a habit is formed. So it's formed through something called the habit loop. Okay, the habit loop, and there's a very good book, guys, on habits. One of the most famous books by James Clear. You have to read this book, guys, because some of the stuff he writes in it, I mean, I thought I knew a lot about habits, but some of the stuff he writes in it makes so much sense. When you have to kind of read the chapters over constantly. When you read the chapters, it just starts clicking, and then you start to examine yourself, and you realize a lot of the kind of bad habits you're carrying. And he explains how to create more habits, and how to then form new habits. Things like habit stacking. Okay, so if you have a good habit already, you devise a technique where while you're forming one habit, you're engaged in a good positive habit, you habit stack on top of that. So you create on one good habit, you build another good habit at the same time, or in a particular habit, you'll build another habit. So you're adding a good habit onto a good habit. And then he talks about 3 times of behavioral changes that we have. And what it causes us to react to. We form an action to get a certain outcome. Okay, So we change our behavior to get a certain outcome, and that's behavioral change is where habits form. But there's three types of behavioral changes: outcome based, what you're going to get at the end of it; process based, the process to get the outcome; and then there's identity change, the identity based habits. So it's the person you want to become, or who you want to become, or you're becoming. So this is how habits are formed, and habits can be very, very tantamount to your success as a man, your success in general. Even if any females are watching this, your good habits are tantamount to where you go in the future. And you can form good habits through what's called micro habits. Micro habits are small 1% changes daily, one tiny wee percentage of changes that you can form. You don't need to have massive change, guys. You don't need to have, a massive event to have a massive change in your ideologies, or a massive change, or take massive action. You get a lot of these people saying take massive action. Micro habits, forming wee tiny micro habits that build up, act like a volcano over time, build up. Down the line, they're going to amount to a percentage of habits are going to amount to a percentage way past a micro habit. So your percentage over a period of time, you've built up that volume, and down the line you're going to see the results of that volume having micro habits. Tiny wee changes, guys. Tiny wee changes in your habits form good habits. If you watch too much television, start switching the television off early. Maybe read for an hour. Okay, form a micro habit. Read for even half an hour. So half an hour a day, half an hour 2 days a week. You'll maybe have read a chapter a week, 2 chapters a week. Down the line, that forms of you reading a book a month. Okay, what does that do for you? You take in knowledge, you take in information. Switching the telly off earlier, getting to bed earlier, micro habit, maybe half an hour earlier in that day, get to bed earlier, switch off the telly, then another half an hour. These micro habits start to build up. You're an hour earlier, you're getting an hour earlier more sleep, you feel more refreshed and more energized. And I started employing guys using these micro habits for my sleep patterns. I started to implement that since reading this book, and I felt fantastic in the gym. My strength's been through the roof. Okay, it's been through the roof from just adopting that micro habit, that tiny wee micro habit. Okay, switching that telly off, that tiny wee micro habit, reading more, that micro habit has led to that. And I'm going to keep implementing these micro habits. There's also things you can do of being aware of your bad habits, writing all your habits down. And what you could do is write all your habits down, put plus sign or a negative sign, is it a good habit or bad habit, and then you replace that habit. Okay, your routine in the morning, brushing your teeth, sitting down, having your coffee. These are all kind of neutral habits. And then you may have a negative habit, smoking, so you put a minus beside that, and then you start to work on it. Because penultimately, guys, your habits down the line, 2, 3, 4 years down the line, you form new habits, new positive habits. It could be your finances, it could be your health, it could be your wealth. And you use the micro habits technique, okay, form micro habits to achieve this. Down the line, 4 or 5 years, this will build up in volume, and it makes a massive difference. That's when you see the great change. That's when you see the massive breakthrough. That's when you see the massive breakthrough. It's not overnight, it's micro habits. And we can reflect that to the British cycling team. The British cycling team were losing for years and years until they brought in this coach. I can't remember the name of the guys, but he started to look at all the processes around cycling, what they wore, the kind of massage gels, how much sleep they were getting, and he started to implement micro changes in it. Change things, try and get that 1% better, and they've started winning for the next decade. All these championships that they'd never won before. Bradley Wiggin, that guy. So the British cycling team did phenomenal for the next 10 years through implementation of these micro habits. Therefore, so Habits are very important, guys. I hope I've explained a bit about how habits form, you know, why the brain has habits, from simple things like switching on a light bulb to brushing your teeth. This is the body's way of coping with working out a problem. These things would be a problem normally in your life, guys, if you didn't. For simple things like brushing your teeth or coming into a dark room would be a problem. That's your body's way of figuring out that problem, repeating the action, working out the solution, and then it gives it to your subconscious mind so you don't deal with it. That's basically how a habit works, and that's how your habits forms. And the more that the habits you form over a period of time ultimately form your beliefs. And these can be changed, and your beliefs can be changed as well. So if you have negative beliefs about yourself, about what you can do, about your politics, about negative situations, you know, you don't believe in yourself enough. I can't do this. I'm just not very good at writing. These are beliefs you form through your build-up of habits that form up your beliefs. So they form your beliefs. Habits can ultimately form your beliefs, guys. Your beliefs about the type of person you are, who you are as a person. They form your identity. Habits form your identity. So the more votes you have for a certain action that's positive, you're forming a new identity. You're forming a new self-image. Okay, and you can change your self-image at any time. If your life right now isn't where you want it to be, you can always create good habits and form a new self-image and work towards that new self-image. So I'll help you. With that said, guys, I hope you found this video educational. I hope it's helped you have a wee bit more insight into habits, why habits are important. If you watch it through to the end, thanks very much, because I know there's a lot of YouTube videos out there, and I hope you enjoy it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Until the next video, thanks for watching, and Shiraz out. Hope you enjoyed it.